some fun before it's time to go.
All right, this may be a little off the beaten path, but it is a new show that is kind of popular, I think. It's so hard to gauge what's popular anymore because there's so many different streaming platforms and numbers don't come out right away. And anyways, it's called Furious. And what caught my eye about this show, Furious, which is on Hulu and FX, is Emmy Rossum. And Emmy Rossum was one of the main characters in the show Shameless that ran for many, many years until she finally left that show. And I don't think I've seen her in anything since then. And so seeing her in this, in the marketing materials and the trailer and whatnot, I was like, oh, all right, well, let's see what this is about. And also it's a serial killer story. So immediately that piques my interest because I love serial killer mysteries and detective shows. And if you want to know what I like to do on a Tuesday evening or a Friday evening, or I like to make some chamomile tea, and I like to sit in my recliner and watch British mysteries and detective shows and so forth. That's my idea of a good time. I'm a real exciting guy. Anyways, this is not a British show, but it looked like, one of the many different kinds of cop dramas that I enjoy watching. I mean, when it comes to TV, I'm either watching fantasy, sci-fi, or police dramas, crime dramas. That's sometimes horror stuff. I still need to make my Widow's Bay video. Anyways, I thought I would just talk about this one because it's a little fresh in my memory because I just binged the first 4 episodes and the fifth episode is out tonight, Monday, I believe. And it's one of those shows that there's a lot of good stuff about it, but there's just a couple of things that are driving me crazy. So I'll just give you the premise. Emmy plays Alice Black, who is an FBI agent, kind of a new FBI agent, formerly a police detective, but she moved over to the FBI when some shit went down. And there are going to be spoilers in what I talk about from here. So, frankly, the spoilers are not that big of a deal because you know who the bad guy is right away. And this is not one of those shows where it's ooh, that's who the killer is. No, you find out who the killer is immediately, so I'm just gonna be spoilery. Anyways, she is answering a tip line. She's basically the lowest of the low at the FBI until she gets a call from her old partner Danny, who's played by Scoot McNairy, who I've seen in a bunch of stuff, including True Detective Season 3 and a bunch of different things. Anyways, he plays her former partner in the police department and the NYPD, I should say, because this takes place in New York. And she goes and is helping him, assisting him on this case. It's this billionaire's son who is found murdered, or is found. It looks like an overdose, but it quickly becomes apparent that it was not an overdose, but actually a murder. And we actually see the murder take place because the whole thing opens with this character Catherine Grace, played by Lola Petticrew, which is an amazing name. Lola Petticrew sounds like something right out of Harry Potter. It's sounds more Harry Potter than most Harry Potter character names. But Lola, Lola, we've seen her in shows like Say Nothing. She's Irish. She does not play an Irish character here, though. She's American. Catherine Grace is the character's name, and she is the killer. She kills this guy and lays next to him after she doses, poisons him. Female serial killers are often poisoners, right? And lays with him on the stairs, and it's very creepy. She's a very creepy character. And so anyways, Alice and Danny begin investigating. There's lots of pushback at the FBI, as in all of these detective shows. There's always the guys in charge are always we're going to make it hard for you to do your job, and the wives and the husbands at home are why do you have to go to work? Why do you have to be a policeman? There's so many tropey things in detectives. I watch too many of these, and it just drives me crazy when it's when the spouse is always nagging the detective, whether it's a husband or wife, and the boss is always riding their ass and making their lives impossible. It's at a certain point, can people work together? Can we have detective shows where everyone's working together and it's really difficult to solve the crime, not because everyone's making it difficult on each other, but just because it's a hard case to solve? Anyways, that's not my point here. That's just tropey stuff that you see everywhere. So Alice and Danny begin investigating this, and we learn a couple things about Alice and Catherine. Alice is the FBI agent. Catherine is the serial killer. We learn that Alice left the police force because she was beat up many times, but actually put in the hospital, hospitalized by her ex, who is a cop still working for the NYPD. And when she told her lieutenant about this, she was ostracized. Nothing happened to him. And when her partner, Danny, stood up for her and backed her up, he was also ostracized. She left the force and now engages in weird, kinky, like rough play stuff, I guess, because like she gets off on it. It's a way to process the abuse or whatever. That's fine. Interesting character level, coloring or whatever. But she was abused. And Catherine, the serial killer, is a sex trafficking victim. And she is getting revenge on all of her sex trafficking guys that like were responsible for hurting her and trafficking her and raping her and all these things. So the two female characters, main characters, the bad guy and the good guy, are both furious, right? Like the name of the show, which is based on an old movie, loosely based on a movie called The Black Widow from the 80s, I believe. 1987. It's a Rob Ralphson film, Black Widow. So this show has gotten. I'm just got my notes here. It started out with 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. It is now at 98%. It's very well received by most critics, praising how it examines the different ways abuse survivors engage with violence. Blah 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 blah. Okay. 4 episodes in. I believe it's 8 episodes long. Maybe the 5th one will change my mind. I think this is a pretty well-made show. As someone who likes these kind of crime shows, like I'm invested in seeing how this cat and mouse thing plays out. How will Alice solve the case and track down Catherine and all that? Tropiness aside, I think it's an engaging drama. However, there are 2 things that bother me. And I guess these are also just tropey things, right? But number one, Alice being like, the whole like she was beat up by another detective in her department and she reported him and nothing happened to him. Like this might have worked as a show that was set in the 70s or 80s maybe, but there's almost no way that in 2026 a female detective is put in the hospital by her boyfriend, who is also a cop in that department, who then reports this to her lieutenant, and nothing happens except for she's ostracized, and everyone becomes her enemy because I know that yes, narking on other cops is bad, but there is a line. Like if you're put in the hospital, there is going to be an investigation. There just is. It's not realistic. It's just not at all realistic. So when I found out kind of all the details of that, I was just like, okay, come on. And then the fact that the serial killer is also just a victim of abuse. And so her serial killing is revenge. She doesn't get to be a real serial killer. She's just an avenging angel, right? She's getting revenge on all these very bad men who raped her when she was a teenager, or who trafficked her and abused her. And I just feel like, look, that's bullshit. That's a bullshit cop-out story. Like, I'm fine. Don't get me wrong. There's a time and place for like the revenge flick, right? Or the revenge show where the victim goes out and kills all her or his, people that done them wrong or did their family wrong, killed their wife, killed their husband, raped them, whatever those. But can we not just have a serial killer who's a female and who is also just a fucking serial killer who's crazy, who had a messed up relationship with her mom or her dad or something? Like, why do male serial killers get to be like what's, the guy from Seven, Kevin Spacey's character from Seven? Why do they just get to be evil, crazy, creepy serial killers, whereas female serial killers need to have a justification? They need to be, maybe they're bad, but hey, they're getting revenge on bad men, right? Like, okay, all right, fine. Like Dexter, right? Dexter's a serial killer show where he's killing other bad people. And that's fine. But the majority of male serial killers in TV and movies are just evil bastards who have something wrong with them, and typically they kill young women, right? Which is another tropey thing that can be kind of annoying. Though true to life, because a lot of serial killers do kill young women or children or whatever. Or, in the case of like someone like Jeffrey Dahmer, they kill gay men. Or like John Wayne Gacy. Anyways, there's usually, but the thing is like, someone like John Wayne Gacy or Jeffrey Dahmer or these or Kevin Spacey from Seven or Buffalo Bill or whatever, they are serial killers who have something fucked up in their head, not because they were like necessarily victims of abuse, but just because something's wrong with them. And the show or the movie that we're watching is about catching them and bringing them to justice and stopping the killing or whatever. I mean, True Detective, right? They were uncovering this horrible, like, creepy sex cult, and they find the guy that's been killing all these women. They don't make the guy like, he wasn't killing these women because they abused him, right? He was crazy. He was a crazy serial killer. Why when we have female serial killers, do they have to have a reason? Why do they have to have a revenge story? It was this very similar thing with the new season of Cross, which I didn't actually watch, but I read the premise. There's a female serial killer, and it has to do with like sex trafficking and stuff like that. It feels like modern TV just has to give women a reason, an excuse to be serial killers. They are getting revenge. They are getting justice. But that's bullshit. That's not just bullshit because I'm like, that's not fair to men. No, I don't think that's fair to women. Like why can't you should let women be scary, frightening serial killers too. Not sympathetic, but like ice fucking cold. If you watch the British show CB Strike, which is based on the mystery novels by J.K. Rowling, writing under her pseudonym, but they're still J.K. Rowling. It's CB Strike has Holiday Granger and what's his name? I can't think of the main actor's name because this just popped in my head. But there is one of the seasons, there is a female serial killer who is just one of the scariest, most evil, like chilling serial killers I've encountered in any TV show I've watched. There was a male serial killer in one of the seasons of Unforgotten, which is was like a cold cases British mystery, which is quite good. Who was the only one who's even close, I think, in TV shows as just like, holy shit, like I was chilled to the bone by how evil this person was. And that's a cool serial killer show. Like I don't care that much to watch like this person go out and kill all. It just feels like a cop out. Like it feels condescending to women is what I'm trying to get at. Like it feels condescending that this whole entire show is just about like these women grappling with abuse. And also like this exaggerated, and I know maybe just as a cis white male, I shouldn't even be saying this, but I just don't find Alice Black's, Emmy Rossum's character, I just don't find her situation realistic in 2026 in the New York Police Department. There is going to be an investigation if someone is beaten like that and reports it to their lieutenant. There's just no, it's a crazy notion. If this had taken place in 1975, okay, sure. But this took place in 2026, give me a break. It's not realistic. The sex trafficking stuff, I'm sure it's all terrible. If you want to watch a better sex trafficking show, I mean, which is weird to say, I know, but watch Save Me with sorry, I'm just so spacey these days. It's got from The Walking Dead. It's got Lenny James. Save Me. That's a hard watch. It's a really good show, though, actually. I think it's got Stephen Graham, it's got Saran Jones, Lenny James, and it's a hard watch about sex trafficking in the UK. And it's raw and rough, and Lenny James wrote it, he produced it, he stars in it. His character's kind of an asshole, honestly, but it's really intense and it's good. So I would say watch something like that instead of this show Furious. Although Emmy Rossum does a great job, the actors are all really well done. It's just that actors are well done. The actors do a good job. Sometimes I just say things and I don't know why I say them. The actors do a great job, but you don't really like any of the characters. Like Alice is not a likable character. Her problem is that she's one of the detective trope, like where the main detective is like so troubled and like that they become like alienating to everyone around them, whether they're drinking themselves into a tizzy all the time. There was that Henry Hole show, the Swedish show that came out recently. And he's just like constantly drunk, like so drunk and so hungover all the time that he can barely function. And it's like, okay, this gets old. Detectives don't always have to be like, could we come up with something new other than just like brash and like alienating or drunk all the time or victims of abuse? Like these just, I guess maybe I watch too much TV and I'm just seeing the same things over and over again and it just gets old. But like, I don't know. I like detective shows where the detective is just smart or maybe just a little quirky, but it doesn't have to be like forced quirky. They're quirky because I don't know. I mean, I was raised on Hercule Poirot and like Agatha Christie stuff and Sherlock Holmes and like those kind of mysteries. So I like detectives that have personality. I just don't think they always need to be like so troubled. And I say this as someone who really liked True Detective season 1, where Russ Cole, of course, is this very troubled alcoholic, lost his family, tragic backstory, but I guess it was just done so well. You can get away with a lot of tropes if you do it well. But if you're just sort of like half-assing it, or if you've put too much into sort of like getting across a social message or something like, yes, abuse is bad, we know. Like domestic violence is bad, sex trafficking is bad. Can you give us something more than that to latch onto? Like we need something more than that to make this an interesting story, because the message is so obvious. We all agree these are bad things. The people who don't agree are bad people, and they are in the minority. So I don't know. I think it's a fine show. It's just everyone's very unlikable, and I just think it's a cop-out to make the serial killer just have like a good reason for doing it. Like if you're going to do that, you better just go full Dexter, and then you're just copying Dexter. So don't do that. That's all I have to say about that. If you've watched Furious on Hulu, let me know what you think. And thank you for watching. Please like this video, share it, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm making videos again. See, I'm making videos again. I know it was a while. I appreciate your faith in me. But have a great one. Peace.